Thank you very much for joining us today. This might seem a bit like a refresh or a restart on the show that we tried to start last week, but unfortunately technical gremlins got in the way. This is Stepping Up from TAtech. TAtech is a membership organization for technology companies in the recruitment space and job boards worldwide. We have members all over the globe, and of course our main conference is going to be happening next week in California. Two of the guests next week to the event are going to be joining me today for the Stepping Up show. Stepping Up a webcast, the purpose of which is to dig a little bit deeper into the companies who are members and active participants in the TA technology global workspace. What we want to do is find out what they do, how they came about in the first place, what their purpose is, and where they are on the path to success with not only the technology but building themselves as a company and as an organization. So, with that said, let me invite to the screen my very special guest, Alex and Madalina from Kombo.dev. Good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon. Yeah, very good. Thank you.
Fantastic. Great to see you. Madalina, how are you?
Doing well. I'm at a coffee shop in San Francisco this morning.
That's excellent. So for the benefit of our audience who may not know of you individually from before, can I ask you to give a very quick introduction to yourself, first of all, Alex?
Sure. Yeah, let's do that. Alex, one of the co-founders here at Kombo. We started 2.5 years ago. Engineering background, now in the CEO role, so doing everything from go-to-market, investor relations. I'm also very excited to be at TAtech in, I think, a week from now. So looking forward to meet you in person there.
Superb. And Madalina?
Hi, excited to meet everyone. So I am leading everything growth here at Kombo. I'm very much excited also for TAtech.
Excellent. Madalina, your audio is a little bit quiet, so if I can ask you to be a bit louder when you speak. So I understand both of you are in San Francisco right now, on the West Coast, which kind of shows the the international intent of Kombo. But as I was saying in the introduction, what I really want to do is find out much more about Kombo. Obviously, anyone can read websites, anyone can look into that, but I'm always interested in the primary purpose of an organization, how it came to be in the first place, and is that still at the center of your purpose as a company?
Totally. Yeah, I think overall it's quite an interesting story. So we started, like me and my co-founder started other company like 3.5 years ago called Scopus. It was in the data mining, data scraping space. One of our bigger customers there was in the recruitment space. So a bigger job board that wanted us to scrape their competitors. Won't name any logos here, but I guess that's how the market works. Everyone wants to get the data from their competitors, and that was very much our first touch point with the TAtech industry. So we were very familiar with everything technology, APIs. So we were scraping the mobile app APIs to get the data at scale. And yeah, that was kind of our initial touch points. And then after a year in, we as co-founders wanted to build more a product-led company, not really service-led as the previous company was. And then looked into different areas, again, spoke to one of our customers from the previous company and discovered that they also had a lot of resources allocated to everything ATS integration. So that was very much the first touch point that we then had with our problem that we're solving as of today. Looked into this in a bit more detail, got accepted at Y Combinator, and since then, the last 2.5 years have learned a lot about the industry. So I would say overall, API integrations, ATS integrations are still the core of Kombo. Why we started, that was the problem that we have seen in the market, while we are building way more than just ATS integrations as we defined them 2 years ago.
Yeah. So of course, the job board industry has a long and storied history of as you call it, scraping, and scraping, of course, is gathering data, not necessarily without someone else's permission, but going and hoovering up that information, which of course is freely available in the internet, and being able to access and make sense of that data can be a great business. But once you take the step on to having an API connection with a database with a platform, then you're doing that in partnership with that company. You are coordinating with them and agreeing ways in which you can have a path for the data to be extracted, and even for data to go back into that database in both directions. So when we're talking about APIs, what we're talking about is real partnerships between platforms, and those bridges that I suppose help to grease the wheels of the recruitment industry.
Totally. And I think to add to that, it's also not only about the data transfer of what is publicly available, but potentially also, and we will probably go into this later today, to make data accessible that is happening fully on the database side, on the ATS side. For example, this position data is something that you can't really scrape at all from the web, right? And through API connections, you are able to extract this position data, whether someone got hired or not. So I think overall, having those deep native API integrations is kind of the foundation of really transforming the TAtech industry, transforming the job board industry out there.
So for clarity, when you say disposition data, you mean what becomes of the recruitment process down the line, more data beyond the point where someone was hired, to know if they were a good hire, if they were successful in the job, whether they stayed for more than a certain amount of time. And that helps to qualify, if you like, the process that happened beforehand.
Yes, while I would even include like further down the funnel data as part of the hiring process. So it's not only about whether someone got hired or was a great hire, but even signals like, was it a qualified apply? Did they get into the interview stage? Did they reject, or was it the employer rejecting the candidate? And this granular data, especially for everything programmatic or performance related, is crucial, because if you have to wait 6 months until someone can be identified as a good hire, it's very lacking indicator, right? While we are able to share this data, I think the most interesting data is the data that you can react on very quickly and optimize your campaigns on very quickly. Mainly it's the qualified apply status that we're looking at as the first indicator of optimization.
Yeah. So in real terms, if a process resulted in 10 or 20 candidates applying for a job with an organization, but that organization then rejected half of them as unsuitable, then that's valuable information to push back to either the programmatic platform or whoever, to make sure that they then change their scoring in the feeds to make sure that they're not buying or are attracting unsuitable candidates.
100%, exactly.
Yeah. So in terms of the integrity of the data, obviously we know that there are legal structures worldwide to do with personal data being shared and so on, and the security of that. To what extent do you have to be the legal bridge as well as the technical bridge between these platforms, because you're enabling the transfer of that information in both directions?
Totally. Yeah, I think that's a great question. So overall, when we think about it, Kombo is a sub-processor. We're sub-processing the data of the job boards and programmatics. So I would say overall compliance security for us is probably one of the biggest areas of investment that we're looking at, not only from a technical standpoint, but also from a legislation standpoint. We have data centers all around the world so that you can deploy the Kombo application wherever you need it, so that it aligns with your legislation. So overall, for us, that's a very key topic, especially because our customers work with multinationals, with big corporations, where there is a very thorough security InfoSec process going on. We're also very early, even before we had the first customer, went through the SOC 2 Type 2 process, the ISO 27001 certification. So we invested a lot into this area early on, while we are constantly investing there over and over, and mainly also in terms of the InfoSec side of things, trying to always keep up with what is the newest there.
Yeah. So Madalina, can I ask what makes Kombo unique compared to other similar solutions in the job board marketplace?
Yeah, let me know if you cannot hear me well.
Yeah, that's good.
I think The main differences stem from the fact that we are exclusively focused on the TA tech industry, or everything that has to do the data around candidate, whether that's hiring, onboarding, paying, etc. And that then goes into all of the other areas in building, because as we all know, the integrations are not binary. So it's not whether you have it or not. Really, the magic is how well do you integrate a certain tool. How well do you cover the edge cases of that specific tool in that specific use case? So that focus of just covering this means we are talking more to the same type of customers who have the same problem, so then we can understand them better. And then that is then trickled down to our product team who only focuses on this. And that means that they've seen those edge cases multiple times, and everyone is growing in the same direction.
So are you saying that there are other companies out there who they're not entirely focused on the TA space, so they maybe don't have as clear an understanding of the issues and the pressures in that space?
I would say majority actually position themselves horizontally rather than vertically within one industry to cover multiple verticals, be that data layer or the infrastructure layer for multiple things at the time. So accounting integrations being one example, CRM integrations, but also HR, ATS, and so on. Whereas we only go to this one, HRS, ATS integrations. Yeah.
So Alex, you're one of the key parts of your platform is, and it's an old saw in the recruitment space, that ATSs and HRIS platforms rarely integrate or even speak with each other. The data rarely flows back and forward, or if it does, it's kind of in one direction only. Can you, in the first place, for people who don't understand the distinction, make that clear and tell me how that can be made to work to the benefit of the employer?
So overall, what we do at Kombo, and I think that's similar to what Madalina just described, right? We're completely focused on the TA tech industry, and that results in us having 100 ATSs and their APIs translated into one single interface. So our customers, Recruitix, CV Library, Stepstone, they use our unified API to connect to 100 ATSs out of the box, right? And that's really the magic that is happening there. So I would say for the employer overall, that means that the system, the ATS that they are using, it can be iSIM, Smart Recruiters, Workday, whatever it is, that it can be leveraged more throughout the ecosystem. So we are basically bringing the entire ecosystem together so the employer can use the scattered tool landscape while still being completely integrated in their source of truth system, ATS and HCM, right? So that's really what the employer benefits about. And I would overall say what we see in our data is that we have like multiple or the same employer across multiple of our customers already connected. And that's kind of a magical moment if you see this happening already. Like the same employer across different Kombo customers connect their ATS, basically us bringing the ecosystem more integrated, more closely together.
Yeah. I mentioned before we came on air that way back, I'd written an article maybe 10 or 12 years ago, predicting that year was going to be the year of the API, and up until that point, I think the standard was HRXML, which was basically feeds, one directional feeds going out. But the API that you have, you mentioned that your unified API. How can you describe that in layman's terms so that we can understand what exactly that is and how that works?
Totally. Great question. So overall, how it works, how you can think of it, let's maybe take an example with CV Library. They can connect our API, so they integrate our API into their platform. And what they can do through that is, first of all, fetch the jobs of their customers, including screening questions, which is a quite important piece, because then they can translate this into an easy apply or one-click apply form on their side, right? So they can collect the applications on their side and then again push this data, those applications via our API into the ATS system. And then the most advanced customers, they then go even one step further and get the disposition data back. Was it a qualified apply? Did they get into the interview stage? So we basically unify not only the APIs, but we also infer in what stage is the application right now, in which stage did they got stuck, in which stage did they got rejected, all those sorts of things we also surface again back from the ATS to the job board or programmatic, right? But I think, again, iterating on the key value proposition, regardless of which ATS or hiring platform your customer uses, the data flow that you consume from Kombo is always the same data structure across 100 ATSs.
Yeah. So you're integrated with 100 plus ATSs. If a new ATS was established today, how straightforward is it to have an integration with yourselves and through that to all of the other platforms?
Totally. So as soon as you integrated Kombo, you don't have to think about any additional ATSs anymore, right? So if we add an ATS as Kombo, you're just automatically integrated with that. If there's a new ATS that we haven't integrated yet, that we haven't translated into our unified data schema yet, then it depends a bit on the complexity of the ATS system. Are we talking about an Oracle Taleo, Oracle Recruiting Cloud type of product? It can take 2 months, actually, 3 months, sometimes even, because those are highly complex systems, very customizable. So we have to cover every edge case. For other vendors, other ATS vendors, it might be between 2 to 3 weeks if they are like very simplistic, very modern API. So it depends a bit on the underlying ATS.
So Kombo is the universal adapter, if you like, between all of these platforms, and input output can be in, I would imagine, thousands of different permutations of platforms. And if an employer has a tech stack with an HRIS system, an ATS, various job boards that they use, an assessment platform, an onboarding platform, then connecting all of those together in normal times would be a big task, a huge task. How straightforward is that then with yourselves? And from an employer's point of view, what would be the employer's experience of that?
Totally. On the employer side, we have a white labeled guide, a white label connection flow. That's how we call it. So the employer needs to give access to their API, right? So we have a white label product that lives within the product of our customers, which is a step-by-step guide on how they connect their Workday, iCIMS, Avature, whatever it is out there, right? So they have to go through this connection flow once, and then the systems are already connected and communicating with each other. For some enterprise systems, I named Avature, I named iCIMS. We are trying to optimize as much as possible to make this a seamless experience, while it can still be like a task of half an hour for the employer. So there we have just the restrictions that we have to work with on how those systems make their APIs available.
Yeah. So for job postings, what kind of data points are crucial for job postings? I would imagine that because you are the connector of these platforms and have access to lots of data, then being able to understand what's working and what's not working is something you can analyze your own data or the data going through your platform to find out those things. So what data points are absolutely essential in job postings to make sure that they're working well? And are you able to feed that back to job boards or employers so that they can continually refine and step up the quality of the job postings that they make?
Totally. I think on the job board side, there are different elements to it. So I would say the obvious one, job title, job description, also formatted in a way that it can be processed automatically by our job board customers. That's table stakes, right? That's essential. Next to that, we also have some interesting data points that I personally like a lot, and I think the market should use them more. Things like salary ranges, if they are available in the ATS, so that you can also go one step ahead in terms of experience or matching, that you can also share skills that are needed for a certain job. So there are details in the ATS already available that from my point of view should be leveraged more by job boards that are not leveraged, at least at scale, as of today. Things like locations, is it remote or not? Those things we also cover, but again, they are more on the table stakes side, I would say.
Yeah, yeah. I'm wondering if there's ways in which you're able to push back on job boards, for example. We know that in some states in the US, salary information is legally mandated. You have to have salary bands in there. But are you able to give reports to job boards and say, well, here are the stats that show why it's worthwhile, because the caliber of applications that are quality applications is so much higher. You don't get as many low quality applications of candidates that are a mismatch because we track data to, as you were saying, the disposition of those candidates afterwards. So what I'm asking is, how do you push back to job boards who say, no, we're fine without that data, but you can inform them to define what they do?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Overall, how I think of Kombo also evolving the next 1 or 2 years is really being the sparring partner to the industry, right? And it ties back into what you just described, like understanding the business of our customers in the integration space or in the experience space, maybe sometimes even better than they do. And then trying to go in and work together on how can we transform like the product, the platform that you're having as of today. To be very specific, it's not exactly the example with the salary ranges, but we have a lot of discussions, a lot of conversations with our customers around screening questions. I'm a big believer that screening questions are table stakes for every job board out there, that they offer like the display of screening questions, the collection of screening questions as part of the easy apply flow. We still see many customers, many job boards not leveraging them. And that's exactly where we have the friction, or I would say it's productive friction between us and our customers, where our solutions team, so we have a dedicated customer solutions team, goes into the conversation with our customers, gives them data on, look, that's what our customers did, that's what we saw on conversion, that's what we saw on quality applies, and then makes a case with them to potentially even wait 3 more months until they launch integrations. But therefore, if we launch it, it's really valuable to candidates, to employers, and like brings the business on the next level. So I would see ourselves as sparring partner, backing it up with data, but also with all the other industry developments that we see. And we also have a specific detailed implementation guide for different use cases where we give our best practices and share them with our customers.
You were talking about screeners, but another form of screening, of course, is video assessments, sometimes asymmetric, where candidates are asked to respond to questions. How do you handle that from a data point of view? That information being sent to and from one platform to the other.
Totally. So we have a lot of video assessment companies in general, background check companies that use our ATS assessment API. So we have a specialized API surface for the job board use case, for the assessment use case. So for every use case in the TAtech industry, also recruitment software, ATSs leverage our technology with specific surface, API surface for those use cases, right? And in that case, we just have an assessment API specialized for sending or pulling candidate information out of the ATS system and sending the assessment results, transcripts, those data points back into the ATS so that surface to the employer again.
Yeah. I should apologize here, Madalina. I haven't asked you many questions because your audio is a little bit patchy, but can I ask both of you? Because I find it really important to understand any technology. Really, you need to see examples. You need to know, about test cases where, an actual employer, an actual vacancy, an actual other technologies. Can you give me examples of success stories that have gone through your platform, and what the problem was at the beginning, and how you were able to evolve that to a better state with the use of Kombo?
I can maybe start quickly. We can stay within the example of CV Library, as I've mentioned them a couple of times already. It's also one of my favorite examples. So CV Library, they've been around for over 25 years now. They've built in-house initially all of the integrations themselves. And then they reached a point where certain integrations, were tricky to maintain and build more and so on. And that's where we partnered up. And the way they measured success, because understandably so, like they wanted to see whether that improves the status quo of 25 years, is they looked at a sample of applications or the sample of clients that were connected through Kombo, and how that changed the number of applications or conversion rates. And what they found compared to the control group was that they had 300% increase in application rates for the clients that were connected through Kombo with our unified API and received the application directly into their ATS. And then the second thing was conversion rates. So 90% now for the clients that were connected through Kombo, 90% of the applications that were started were also finished, which is also a significant increase in the user experience of the candidate, but that increases then to the relationship that they have with their partners. Exactly. So I think that's also publishing a case study about this. It goes to show about that.
So you mentioned CV library there, and actually that brings me to an interesting area where I think the job board platform industry is going to go. Because of the move in or the big changes in AI technology, that in future there's going to be not so much fewer vacancies being advertised, but more going straight to the CV database. And CV library is predicated initially on having a huge database of CVs or resumes, and of course they are resume library in the US. And I think the interrogation of a database of potential candidates is going to be one of the biggest moves in this industry to keep job boards in the center of the process, but also using or utilizing a really valuable asset that I don't think has been used as much as it could have been. So in what way are you able to facilitate the interrogation of a CV database from an ATS looking at all of the candidates that are registered on CV library or resume library?
Totally. I think I definitely agree with your takeaway, and I was also listening in to Chris Foreman's talk at I think it was RecBus a couple of weeks ago, right, where he also talked a lot about the sourcing piece. So I'm very interested in that, and I think overall we as Kombo, we're positioned really well to make all the different use cases possible. So everywhere where there's data transfer, let's say from the CV database into the ATS or vice versa, we kind of can help. So through our technology, you can also, as a job board, for example, or as a sourcing product, extract all the historical candidates that were ever created in the ATS system. So that you can maybe enrich even the CV database further. So we have a big customer here in the Bay Area called Gem, and Gem is a pure sourcing play, right? Gem.com, great company, and they're using us for the ATS integration side of things. So overall, I would say I'm pretty interested. I'm convinced that we will see more and more development into this area, while I think we can support with this use case also really well from the Kombo side.
Yeah. So one of the events that we put on is the National Online Recruitment Awards, and in that we always look at things from a candidate's perspective, and we try and recognize technologies that make a big difference in the marketplace, even though they're not seen by job seekers, they're not seen by candidates. When you're involved in a process, obviously job seekers are not going to see the brand Kombo anywhere. But what difference does it make to job seekers when Kombo is part of the process of data going from one place to the other?
Totally. So I think this is overall the value add that we give, especially for job boards, is that as soon as you're integrated with the ATSs, you own the application process on site, on the job board side of things. Just to be very specific, what does it mean for the job seeker? They don't experience this click out where they have to register on the Workday form and go through this very tedious process, filling everything out, and do that for job over and over again. Through Kombo, what they can do, or if the job board uses Kombo, is they will probably see 20 jobs that they match with in a quite good way, and then they just can click on apply, and then might have to fill out a couple of screening questions, and then the job application goes into the ATS of the employer right away, right? So the experience of matching an application will be probably 10x better than compared to them not being integrated with ATS / using Kombo.
Yeah. Can I ask how large is Kombo now? The company was started, what, 2.5 years ago? How many people on the team altogether?
We are 32 right now.
Wow.
Most of the team is working on the plumbing side of things, so building and maintaining all those integrations. We're also building a new product called AI Apply, where we go even beyond API integrations. Very excited about this. I'm also very closely involved there. Main of the team, or the bulk of the team, is still on the R&D side. Madalina and myself, small team is on the commercial side.
Yeah, so I want to ask about that, because the future development of the platform is, well, in any organization in this space, is absolutely essential. You can't rest on your laurels. There will be other companies, I'm sure, looking at what you do and thinking, well, how can we do that? And you need to stay ahead. So what does the roadmap look like for the next 6 months, 12 months? Where are you aiming for? And how is that going to come out in terms of the platform itself in features and functionality?
Totally. So overall, our bread and butter is ATS HR integrations, API based, right? And that's our foundation. We will mainly continue investing into this foundation. We have 300 customers running already on our infrastructure, and they want to have the best and most reliable, the deepest integrations. So the next 12 months, 18 months will still be very much investing into our foundation, making sure that our growth that we've experienced the last 2.5 years is on a strong foundation. On top of that, we are currently working on our first or on our second act. That's how I would call it. The second act is basically, and it might sound very bold, but I think the second act has the potential to change the entire TAtech industry, like fundamentally, basically. So what we are building is an AI agent with the goal in mind of making every job out there programmatically applicable. So right now with our technology, you need, it's basically API based. So you need an employer to accept this integration. So it's a lot of back and forth. Some customers get jobs from agencies or from multi-posters. They don't know the employer, so they can't connect those customers. So I would say on average, we see that only 20% of our customers, or like our customers can only connect 20% of their customers, right? Because only with them they have those relationships. And what we're building with the product called AI Apply, it's not very creative yet, the name, but basically what we're doing there is making every job through an AI agent applicable, so that job boards can make 100% of their job inventory easy applicable, despite having a relationship with the customer.
So as we were saying before, partnerships, integrations are your lifeblood, connecting one with the other. We know that in the marketplace there are some companies, big organizations that have their own marketplaces, whether it be Smart Recruiters or Bullhorn or iCIMS, and their whole thing is that as soon as a customer wants a technology that's on the marketplace, they can flick a switch and they have access to that technology. What you have with your integrations is effectively the same thing, but it's an agnostic, or it's a central marketplace, not tied necessarily to any one of the others. So someone can literally turn up and say and fill the shopping basket with the technologies that they want, and know that they will work together through Kombo. To me, that's revolutionary, and being able to do that is unique. We mentioned at the beginning, next week we have TAtech North America in California. I'm very much looking forward to seeing you there, and I know that the audience there will have a ton of questions for what you're doing and how you're doing it. We've just today opened up the app for meetings, so I expect that you're going to get a lot of requests for people who want to talk to you, and I would say make a point of organizing as many meetings as you can in the deal center. So I've noticed that we've gone a little bit over time. Is there anything that you'd like to say to anyone who's going to be in Oceanside next week?
Let's catch up there. Let's go into the details. So overall, for me, CEO, but also very product focused, I'm always interested in where everyone sees the market going. So I'm very much interested in poking holes, understanding what are integration or data related challenges that the job board industry or the TAtech industry is facing, for us to be able to solve those problems in the next months and years. So I would overall say very interested in catching up with everyone, going deep into their product, their business challenges, and making sure that we as Kombo can solve those use cases throughout the next years.
Superb. And Madalina, what are you looking forward to next week?
As Alex said, TAtech is our bread and butter to some extent, so I'm looking forward to catching up and seeing a lot of familiar faces, and also meeting some. It's always fun to see where the space is going and where faces.
Absolutely, that's fantastic. So on that note, I'm going to say thank you very much. It's been absolutely fascinating. I know as soon as we get off, I'll have a ton of other questions that I'm going to have to save until next week. So if I stop you next week and just bend your ear, that's what that is. But I know that I'll be in a queue of other people who want to speak with you as well. So I'm going to say thank you very much for being fantastic guests today. Thanks everyone for joining us who has been watching live on Crowdcast or on any of the social channels, or indeed if you're watching on replay. If you're coming to TAtech next week, please make a point of making an appointment to speak with Alex or Madalina, and it's going to be a really hectic week. Look forward to it. If you're not there, that's a real shame, but please make a point of making contact with Kombo. You'll see a link at the bottom of the screen to do that. And until next time, I'm going to say thank you very much and goodbye. Thank you then.
Thank you very much.